Hello and welcome to Monday's Hotline Live with Record Sport. My name is Daniel Cott and I'm enraptured to be joined by my colleague Keith Jackson. Keith, how's it going?
Good to see you, Dan.
You too, absolutely, you too.
You went missing over the weekend.
I did. I had some family obligations to attend
How
to.
dare you?
I know, but I was watching the Hotline Live with I was going to say with bated breath. That's not quite the right phrase, is it?
I would hope not.
Aye, of course. Obviously, it's a new week, Keith. A new week for Celtic in the Champions League as well.
Yeah,
Borussia Dortmund tomorrow night.
Big week for Scotland's clubs. Celtic in action, Hearts the Conference League, Rangers Europa League. You know, and this is we make so much effort and noise and fuss and drama about trying to qualify for Europe.
But getting there, eh?
Yeah, but now that we've got teams in it, you're hoping, you know, it seems to be, there's this kind of weight that's around the neck of the old firm going into Europe, the coefficient, and nobody else seems to do a hands turn. It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Aye, of course.
If Hearts actually chipped in a little bit.
And Rangers fans would argue it'd be nice if Celtic could chip in a little bit, but
Celtic have chipped in with these
Champions
Champions
League
points.
Of course they have. Aye.
So that's a good start. Great start for both of them.
Aye.
Wouldn't it be great if Hearts could get up and running as well?
Aye, absolutely.
So yeah, and you know, I can't say that I hold out too much hope for Celtic in Germany tomorrow night. One of the toughest games the computer could have thrown at them. But you know what? There's an element to it where they did a lot of the hard lifting at home to Bratislava in the opening game. They've got those 3 points in the bank now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it a disaster if they don't back that up with something in Germany? No. Would it be a disaster if they then went to Italy and come back with nothing from Atalanta? No, it wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Celtic have got 3 points on the board and they've got winnable matches.
Yep.
And just keep your eye on the prize in terms of trying to make this new kind of playoff round for the last 16. Very similar situation at Rangers. They've got off to a great start, but I've got a lot of difficult games
Very difficult.
coming up on the horizon. And you just hope that, you know, bit by bit, they chip away at it and they get to the kind of points tallies that would allow two Scottish teams to be in with a shot of reaching the last 16 in their respective competitions. And as I said, if Hearts could just do a little bit of the old heavy lifting, that'd help nicely.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, it's neither of us that are on duty in Germany for the Celtic Borussia Dortmund game. Michael Gannon for Record Sport is.
Herr Mick.
And we caught up with him earlier on today in the glamorous surroundings of the Westfalenstadion. And here's what he had to say. And we're joined now on Hotline Live all the way from Dortmund and the iconic Westfalenstadion by Michael Gannon. Mick, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad, chaps. Yeah, it's just not a bad gaff. This I must admit, first time I've been here. It's looks pretty impressive, doesn't it? That's that behind me. If you see over my shoulder, that's where the yellow wall's going to be. Big terrace behind me, 25,000 fans. I don't think they all get in the European next night. I think they can reduce capacity because it's all standing.
Yeah,
there'll be some sort of dispensation, so it might not be quite as full as you would in the league game, but it's still going to be pretty impressive, I think.
Oh, Mick, it's brilliant. I was there for. Do you remember Paul Gascoigne get sent off for Rangers in the Champions League?
Actually.
Mm-hmm. And it was about -14 or -15, and the press box hangs right from the very top of the roof. And I think we had to put on just about everything that we took, every element of clothing that we took in case had to go on. I had my jeans on under my suit. Absolutely Baltic. Never forget it, but the atmosphere is incredible, Mick. You'll love it.
It should be good fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's the first time here, as I said, looking forward to it. The punters here are looking forward to it. I mean, I don't know what the attendance is going to be. It's going to be pretty big. The locals here are a wee bit worried. Everyone I speak to here thinks that Dortmund are here for the taking. And I think even Celtic fans are a bit confident as well, but that sounds dangerous to me. This is still a top side, isn't it, Dortmund?
I don't like it, Mick.
No, I don't like it. I mean, I think it's chickens before they're hatched and all that stuff. I think that Dortmund are still a real difficult proposition for Celtic. Probably, well, no doubt it. It's the toughest test of the season so far. And they're going to be thoroughly examined out here. I say Dortmund, the results have been a bit patchy. They got gubbed 5-1 but with Stuttgart the other week. Mm-hmm. But listen, they still beat Bruges 3-0 over there in Belgium. 1-4-2 on Friday night, albeit they were 2-0 down to Bochum. It's a local kind of local rivals. I say rivals, they're kind of a smaller side, obviously. But yeah, there seems to be a sense that they're kind of vulnerable, but they still get a lot of power. They still got a lot of goals in their team as well. So I mean, it's the recipe's all there, isn't it? The recipe for a cracking game, I think.
And the one problem that we think Celtic will have, Mick, is that they've flown out today without, we think, Cameron Carter-Vickers, which, if he doesn't make the game, a massive blow for Celtic. You talked about it last week on the Hotline Live, Mick. You know, such an important player for Celtic.
It's huge. I mean, he was such a big miss last year in the Champions League, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's such a solid figure. I mean, he reads the game so well.
He holds that defence together.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, there's no getting away from it. It is an absolutely massive blow. I mean, I think Austin Trusty came in and did quite well. I did very well against St Johnstone, but listen, you got to put it into context. St Johnstone are pretty poor right now. I'm not saying they're playing against Love and Wheelie Bins, but it wasn't far off at the weekend. Do you know what I mean? So this is a whole new ball game for him after a game and a half, or a game and a bit. Sorry, to play against Falkirk. Sorry, so a couple of games. But I think it's this is a whole new examination for him at this level. Dortmund have got some real firepower, haven't they?
This is the thing, right? I'm agreeing with you here. I'm feeling slightly uncomfortable with all this. Dortmund are in a terrible state, and Dortmund are playing in the Champions League final a few months
ago.
Yeah.
They are top notch.
Right.
They are as top notch as it's possible to get.
They're a genuine elite.
Yes.
Elite, you know.
And so, see if Celtic can get out of there with a point. It's an absolutely sensational result.
Incredible result.
Let's not kind of run before we can walk here in terms of, this is the Champions League. Celtic have got off to a great start. There's every chance that things won't go according to plan tomorrow night, or when Celtic play Atalanta in the next game.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 points are in the bag already. Celtic just need to try and eke them out as they go. I don't particularly expect anything. I'd love Celtic to get a point just because it'd be a brilliant result for Scottish football. But I kind of think it could be a long, hard night. And the fact that Dortmund don't have the problems to seek will probably encourage them into finding a performance, which is unfortunate.
A point. It'd be an amazing result for Celtic to get a point.
See, I think this is a bit of a. I mean, I'm not saying I don't think Dortmund are at the level of Man City, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I don't think they're quite at that level. I know they got to the final last year, but at this point in time, I don't think they're at that level. So they're not playing the absolute best in Europe. They're playing at a top team, but not the absolute best. I think there's opportunity for Celtic, but I don't see any pressure on Celtic to get a result here. I mean, I think if they go here,
that's true.
I think if they go here and produce a good performance and push them all the way and get beat, I don't think anyone's going to be tearing up the hair. I mean, I think that would be acceptable to go. But what we need to see with Celtic is a more mature performance. We can't see we can't see Celtic doing well for half an hour, getting a man sent off and losing 3 quick goals and all these kind of things that we've seen over the years and away from home in Europe. We need to see a Celtic in a mature performance, an intelligent performance. We need to see something we haven't seen this season, which is how they cope without the ball for long periods. They have to be good with the ball, which I think they will be. I think they'll cause problems for Dortmund anyway.
Yeah.
They need to defend long periods when they haven't got the ball and they're under pressure, under siege, and not concede goals in bunches. I think if Celtic compete in this game and they go down narrowly, I don't think anyone's going to be too upset about it. It won't affect momentum. I think it would give confidence for the rest of the fixtures in this campaign as well. So
if they go and perform it, yep, you're absolutely right. If they go and impose their style of play on Dortmund, that's good enough.
Yeah, we need to see Celtic being a bit more mature than they have been in Europe in recent years. They've had spells when they've looked terrific, by the way, under Ange Postecoglou and under Brendan Rodgers. There'll be wee spells when they look really good. They need to put it together over 90 minutes. If the result doesn't quite go their way, then I think people hold their hands up and say, right, fair enough. But they need to see something that suggests that they're learning at this level, especially away from home. And as I say, I think if they get out with a good performance, if not a result, they'll take that forward in the next games. I think that would be a boost in terms of the rest of the campaign. If they can get a point, sensational. If they get a win, blimey, it'll be one of the biggest wins in 20, 30 years in Europe. So that's what level we're at here. But it's intriguing, isn't it? Because I don't think a win is, or even a defeat is really. Let's say it matters. Let's say it doesn't matter. Of course it matters, right? But these home games they've got are a great opportunity to go and progress from this section. The away games are bonus time.
That's the thing. It's all about keeping it in context. What are Celtic's aims and ambitions in this competition? Well, we know that what they are. It's to avoid finishing in the bottom 12, get into the playoff stages, and with a potential route into the last 16. That is the aim. And a defeat in Dortmund doesn't change any of that.
No.
Before we let you go, Mick, I know you've been with Nouri Sahin today, the Borussia Dortmund manager. I completely forgot that is that link with Brendan Rodgers when he obviously signed for Liverpool and it didn't quite work out. It's quite an intriguing kind of subtext to tomorrow's game.
It was interesting because obviously he didn't play much at Liverpool, and then we left, he had a kind of parting shot at Brendan. I think he said, went back to Real Madrid and he went on loan to Dortmund the first time round. He said, thank God I've left Brendan Rodgers behind. A wee bit of a snipe. So we asked about that this morning to him, and he handled it really well. He said, "Oh, I don't remember what I said when I was a kid." What I suspect he's now seen the Rodgers thought process at that time through a manager's eyes. Now he's a manager. Now he realises that he's in that boat and he has to make the big decisions. And I think he admits himself, he was playing centre midfield up against Steven Gerrard. He's not going to shift him into the team at that point in time.
That's true.
So I think time has been a healer. So there's definitely no bad blood. And in fairness, he actually spoke really warmly about Brendan Rodgers. He was a big fan of his style.
That's no use, Mick. We want needle. We want fireworks.
Keith, as you know, I can't tell you how disappointed I was to hear this nice nonsense. This is an absolutely devastating blow. We wanted some fireworks, but never got them. We got nice stuff. But it was interesting. It's quite a good wee line. He said that when he first met Rodgers during the courtship process of trying to get him to Liverpool, he said that even though he's Northern Irish, he had a Spanish vibe. He said, I thought it was quite good. Quite a good little line, a Spanish vibe. But just in terms of the way like, he'd viewed the game, the kind of possession-based football, and he was trying to kind of cop a bit at Barcelona, that kind of thing. But yeah, so a piece is broken up. These two, they're all chummy again. We'll see how long it lasts until tomorrow night. I mean, hopefully by a major bust up the touchline tomorrow night, it'll be all hell breaking loose.
Mick, thank you very much for joining us on the Hotline Live. If we don't see you before kick-off tomorrow night, have a great time, enjoy it. I hope it's a great match for you. Yeah,
I'll wait to speak to Rodgers and co here at the ground shortly, and then it'll be a big plate of schnitzel and off to bed early as always.
As always, mate.
I should
as always, ultimate professional.
You can see all the Mick's reporting from the Brendan Rodgers press conference on Record Sport Online as well. Mick, thank you very much.
By early means 4 o'clock in the morning, early tomorrow.
Early tomorrow. Tomorrow's
early morning. Too old for that nonsense. These days.
Mick, thanks very much.
See you later, lads. Cheers.
Michael Gannon there in the glamour.
Too old for that nonsense. Do you know that we say that he looks very much like Will Ferrell?
You said that.
Have you seen the film?
What is the film again?
Old School or something?
Old School, that's it.
Frank the Tank.
That's right, Frank the Tank.
Mick sometimes on a trip goes full Frank the Tank. I've seen it.
I hope he's in
Frank
the Tank mode right now. Right, let's get some Celtic fans to take on the game tomorrow night. Watching live on YouTube, Pablo Nichols, Celtic were a different class at the weekend. I think we can get a result as they're leaking goals. Fingers crossed we can take a point. A couple on Facebook as well. First of all, Keith, I don't want to offend any of our Irish viewers. How do you pronounce that? Nolig? And Nolig, if that's how you say it, I'm really sorry.
I think that's as good a guess as I would have taken. Yeah.
Nolig, anything is possible. We could get a draw, a win, or we could get absolutely battered. The majority of our support didn't expect anything from this, so it's a free hit. Brian McGurk makes the good point that if Celtic keep 11 players on the field, they've got a chance to. The last 3 away games in the Champions League, Celtic get a player sent off and ruined Celtic's chances of getting any points.
They do need to keep their discipline, that's for sure. And it is going to be a hot atmosphere. And I just don't buy into all this. It's all doom and gloom in Dortmund.
No.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves on that one. It's going to be red hot. And yes, discipline's going to be essential. And the injury to Cameron Carter-Vickers,
that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Aye.
It's going to be bad.
This one, Joe McCabe on Facebook, finishing this one. The one thing Rodgers missing from his Celtic CV is a blockbuster win in the Champions League. Tomorrow night will be his real scalp. And I should say, I mean, look, I actually completely agree with you. I wish I disagreed with you for the show's sake,
because it makes good telly.
Exactly. But I do, like, I was at a christening yesterday and was talking to people, and I definitely feel like there's definitely an air of confidence around Celtic fans.
Which is mental when you think about it. When you look at Celtic's track record in the Champions League, and it's been erased from the memory banks here.
I said to a friend yesterday, I said, this is the team in the Champions League final a few months ago, and he was going, but they've lost Hummels, they've lost Sancho, they've lost, they've still got some very decent players. This is just about as tough as it gets for Celtic.
Yeah, but bear in mind, Rangers did go there, same place a couple of years ago, and an absolutely incredible result. So these things aren't impossible. I just think they're highly unlikely.
Well, Rangers easy okay, regular on the Hotline Live. We put Dortmund away a few years back and they had a better team than they do now. So no excuses for Celtic tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Do you know what? I say it again. If they can get a point,
that would be.
Then it's an absolutely phenomenal result, and they come back with 4 points from 6 from the first 2 games, and they're in a great position. I do think, stress again, I think that's a highly unlikely scenario. I think it might be a difficult night. I just hope as Michael's saying there, and it's absolutely spot on. What you're looking for from this Celtic team is not to run before it walks at this level, but just go and put on a performance. Go and impose your style of play. The kind of, and listen, it's easier said than done doing that in Perth than it is in Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
But get somewhere close to that. Get somewhere close to saying this is how we're now going to approach these games at this level. We will have a lot of the ball, maybe not the lion's share, but we'll have a lot of it. We'll use it well. We'll use it quickly. We'll be aggressive. We'll be intense. We'll be on the front foot. Go and play like that. But also, always the difficulty in this level of European football is, you know, finding the right balance, because you can't go at it hell for leather from the start and leave the back door swinging open. And again, I come back to the fact that Carter Vickers, you'd feel a lot more confident for Celtic with Carter Vickers there than without him. So, look, it'll be intriguing. As Michael said, if Celtic go, put on a performance, you know, regardless in some sense of the result. If they go and they trade some blows and they make it look as if, do you know what, we're a side that can actually...
It belongs here.
Yeah, and achieve, because the Celtic for years called themselves a Champions League club. Well, they were in the Champions League, but they weren't a Champions League club.
In name only.
Yeah. So, you know, I've said it since the start of the season. I feel that, not since the start of the season, since the end of the transfer window, I feel that Brendan Rodgers now has the best equipped squad that he's had at any point over both times, over both his stints in charge. And you are looking, saying, well, maybe now this is the time to prove that you've got the quality, that you do aspire to do more than just get into this competition, but that you can maybe bloody a few noses while you're there.
A couple of comments just to round off on this, Keith. Bowl of Cinder on watching on YouTube. I just want to see a great performance. And this one that caught my eye from Johnny watching live on Facebook. The new format suits Celtic perfectly in terms of mentality. Knowing we only get one crack at teams like Dortmund, there's no return leg. Time to go all out for 90 minutes. And I know you said there, you can't just go gung-ho.
No, you can't, because you get absolutely torn apart.
You'll get leathered, But I do think there's something in that, in the sense that there is no return leg. It is almost, it is a one-off game. You can go out there and... Have we said that?
I agree. I agree. But I just think this might be a stretch. And I keep coming back to, what's the aim at the outset of this competition? The aim is to make it into the playoff rounds. And the 3 points that are already in the bag tells me that Celtic have got an excellent chance of doing that. So don't be too dispirited if it doesn't go too well tomorrow night. On the other hand, go absolutely stark raving mental if Celtic go there and get something.
Absolutely. Okay, away from Celtic, a couple of other big talking points on this Monday evening from the weekend. I think at Ibrox, Keith. I know, obviously, you talked about it in the Hotline Live yesterday, but a lot of talking points, not even to do with football, more to do with refereeing decisions.
Yeah.
And that prompted us to get in touch with
the resident
ref, former Grade 1 official Des Roache. We caught up with him earlier on today to get his take on some of the weekend's big talking points, and here's what he had to say. And delighted to be joined on tonight's Hotline Live by former referee Des Roache. Des, how's it going?
I'm very well, guys. Yourself?
Absolutely. Not bad, but we seem to have got the memos mixed up here. Why are we dressed as the men in black? We've got a resident referee here.
I was worried what you were going to say then. I said, oh God, it's coming here.
Listen, don't take this for a...
Aye, that's interesting, Des. You're showing your hand.
Definitely some comments on that tonight, Des, I've got to say.
Dundee United fact.
That's it.
Absolutely. Brentford Juniors away.
Des, would obviously... very interested to speak to you. Another hectic weekend of top flight action in Scottish football, but a couple of incidents in particular, a couple of matches in particular. I'm looking for your view, because it's a bit of a red hot debate just now on the John Souttar penalty that Hibs got at Ibrox on Sunday, which has sparked, you know, some curious. Philip Clement, he's looking a little bit like Basil Fawlty in some of the pictures for his press conference. This is his attempt to say why it shouldn't have been a penalty kick. Des, penalty?
Yeah, absolutely. Penalty, 100% of the day. It was a penalty kick. I do know what you're saying with Philip Clement doing his calisthenics or whatever you want. But yeah, it was a penalty all day long.
What do you think of that, Keith? Because I agree with Des, and I thought it was a clear penalty.
It's a penalty. I mean, I get Clement's point in that it's almost point blank range.
Aye.
And I do think that that's something that I thought that Willie Collum. So I've got a bit of sympathy with. Come on,
Right.
this was something that we were going to try and cut out. There is the point blank element to it, but at the same time, his arm is up.
Aye,
The ball's heading, whether or not it goes into the net is another matter, but it's heading towards
Aye.
in the general direction of the net, and it's blocked by an arm. For me, penalty kick. Is a penalty kick enough?
Well, as you and I all we've spoken about it earlier. I would say
Why
that
laughing?
I think, yeah, I would say that a red card would be justified in that moment in time. Now, what you've got to look at is, yes, there was close proximity. I've got no issue with that whatsoever. However, the wording of the law is denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
As John Suter has went to try and block the ball, he's raised his arm, right? He's raised his arm, so that ball has therefore hit his arm. That's an intentional move. I know he might say it's balance. I can understand that. I'm not a physicist, and I can get it. But if that ball doesn't hit his arm, is the ball going to go towards the goal? Now, you can't say that Butland is going to save it, because we don't know that. That's you forguessing it. You can't forguess it. So at that moment in time, has that denied an obvious goal-scoring opportunity? In my opinion, yes, it has denied that opportunity. So it's denied the opportunity. The sanction is a red card.
So if you were in charge of that game, you give the penalty to Hibs, and Suter gets sent packing, and Rangers are at home for another pretty much the whole of it. Well, it would have been just more than the 45 minutes with 10 men. Brave call, Des.
It's not about being a brave call, it's about getting the right call.
The right call, Des. That's it. Well said. Put me in his place there, Des.
It's getting the right call.
Like, what makes? Why wouldn't they? Why didn't they look at that then? If it's as clear cut as that, Des, why didn't when VAR looked at? Why aren't in Don Robertson's ear saying, by the way, that's a potential red card?
I think they should. But I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in Clydesdale House. I wasn't in privy to that conversation. But I think that should have been the conversation that was taking place.
Mm-hmm.
If that situation's occurred, I mean, let's turn it on its back. If you guys are there and you know the wording of laws of the game, what would you expect then? It's denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, we're a bit vague on the exact wording of the rules. Journalists like to keep it that way. Okay, that's interesting. Can we move down the road, down the M77 to Rugby Park? Des, because that was an extraordinary afternoon, wasn't it, for Craig Napier in charge of Kilmarnock versus Dundee United?
Yeah, well, let me just put it here right now. I don't think I'm going to be on Craig Napier's Christmas card list at any point, particularly soon. I think it was a collective. It's not just on Craig Napier. I think it was a collective. It was a collective match officials decision that made quite a few strange decisions in this game.
Well, I mean, it was Craig Napier that chops off. Was it Dundee United's second goal for a foul that I don't think anybody needed a remote control and a separate screen to realise it wasn't a foul, and that's the in-game decision making that causes that's problematic in the first instance, isn't it?
Absolutely, it was a clean tackle. There was nothing there, and from the footage that I've seen and footage that we've all seen, there was nothing blocking him to make that decision. It was just a good challenge, and then to allow play to continue for a goal getting scored 10 seconds later, or whatever it may have been, it was just wrong. It was completely wrong. So there's no mitigation on that one. The mitigation should be that the fourth official should have gotten there earlier, or the VAR should have gotten there earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't messing your words earlier, did you? You reckon this is one of the poorest refereeing performances you've seen in the top flight of Scottish football for quite some considerable time.
Yeah, and I'll hang my hat on that one. Yeah, I think it was unexplainable.
And obviously culminating in the Dundee United's late equaliser again, hard to fathom.
Honestly, I don't know where Kilmarnock are getting a break this year. I'm probably wearing my lunch T-shirt in sympathy for Mark tonight. But again, that wasn't a penalty kick.
No.
Nobody in the world was looking for that. Nobody in the world can see where there was an issue with it. I just think Craig Napier had a bad day at the office, and unfortunately, he's had a few too many.
That was an astonishing one. I actually feel really sorry for Derek McInnes because he's been searching for that win.
Need that one,
he's seconds away from it, and then that, and what's the procedure nowadays? Is this another phone call for wee Willie saying sorry, or is it a discussion with Craig Napier? How does this get addressed?
I certainly don't. I don't think it should be another phone call to Derek to apologise, because you would never be off your phone on a Monday morning if you were going to have to apologise for decisions. I don't think that's the right way to go forward. I think what he has to do is he has to manage his players. Just a manager has to manage his own football team. Derek McInnes has to manage his players. I think Willie has to manage his guys. I think Craig Napier needs a wee bit of coaching, a wee bit of time out to come forward. What do? You can only work with the guys you've got. So unfortunately, the refereeing department doesn't have a transfer budget to go and bring guys in for somewhere else. You can only work what you've got, and you've got to try and make them better.
Yeah, but if you're not performing, you don't play.
Yep, totally agree.
Right, brilliant. Des, that's brilliant. Great to get your kind of expert eye on it. As I said, our Hotline Live's resident referee.
Absolutely.
Des Roache. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Des.
No problem at all, guys. Catch you later.
Des Roache there.
I'm not sure I agree with him, by the way.
Well, you're not the only one. Let's have a look at some of the comments that we've had in on the events at Ibrox yesterday. Mikey Cloworth, he pushed his elbow up towards the ball, so penalty any day of the week, and I'm a blue nose. But Hugh Dale, Counters was saying, never a penalty in a million years. Unless Suter chops his arm off, I don't see how he could have avoided contact. Mac McGee makes the point. If Rangers got a penalty on Thursday against Leon for the exact same scenario, will Clement defend the Leon player and say Rangers shouldn't have been awarded the penalty? And a couple of live ones that I think have come in as well. Rangers easy, okay. I thought it was a penalty, to be fair, but I do understand what Clement was trying to say with close proximity. It actually worked out better for us because it looked like it was going in, and then Butland saved the penalty, which is a good point.
And actually that adds a little bit of weight to the argument that should be a red card because there's been no jeopardy for Hibs. Hibs ended up, not scoring from the spot, but that's their own fault.
It's a terrible penalty.
Yeah, it's a terrible penalty. But the fact of the matter is, there was they talk about double jeopardy. And this is where, I think it'd been really harsh. I think it was a penalty kick. So let's get that straight. That's the right decision. But sending John Suter off for that would have been, I think, really harsh. That is double jeopardy. And I could see the point if you thought, we've seen examples of it where the goalkeeper's out of position and there's a defender and he jumps up in the line and deliberately saves it, tucks it over the back. That's a penalty kick and a red card all day long. But in a situation like that, is there intent from John Suter to try and put his arm on that ball? I don't think so. It's point blank range. And I think to then further that, to double down with a red card, I think that would have been harsh. But I think it was the right decision. I think it was a penalty kick.
I agree with you. I was of the exact same thinking up until I read that comment a moment ago from Rangers. Is he okay? Rangers have benefited quite. That's
because Hibs missed a penalty.
Hibs did. It was a terrible penalty as well. It wasn't just that
they've got a free shot at goal from 12 yards.
I know.
That was their reward.
I know.
For them. So yeah, I think sending off Suter on the back of that would have been too harsh.
I know.
Des Roache would have caused a riot.
The other Rangers issue that we should maybe mention was Vaclav Černý, who kind of, I think it's fair to say, give a bit back to some of the Rangers fans at the weekend.
It's becoming a bit of a trend with some of these Rangers players. Dessers has done that a bit. Černý did it the weekend. Phil Clement had to take him off, and then I think he gave him some choice words. I think he spoke to him for about 30 seconds or something before Černý made it onto the bench. They need to stop that.
Yeah.
Because even if it's just a matter of perception, how it looks doesn't look good for players to be fighting with their own supporters. And it doesn't look good for the supporters to see those players piping up when really consistently over a period of time, extended period of time, they've failed to deliver.
Yeah.
They've underachieved. And if they can't hack getting a bit of stick from the stands, then they're in the wrong movie. They're certainly in the wrong country.
Yep.
Because that's the way it works here. And by the way, it's the way it works all around the world.
Yeah.
But I think it's a strange relationship, isn't it? After the Old Firm game, you had the Rangers fans turn up outside Ibrox. I'm sure the players didn't react well to that. They would never come out and slaughter them, but you can tell in that dressing room. What do you think they were? What do you think the conversation was like at Auchenhowie the next day? They would have been outraged by it.
Aye.
And you can understand that because it was over the top. They can't come out and say that, but then when you see these incidents in game where they are nibbling back, and by the way, you can draw a line in this all the way back to the tail end of last season when it started to go wrong, and you get Fabio Silva, who was a preposterous character at the best of times. He should have been trying to keep his head down, but he's starting gesturing and pointing the name in his shirt and all that. He was hopeless.
I know.
And fans won't take to that. If you're continually letting them down, these are the guys that are paying your wages.
Aye. And very significant wages.
Exactly right. So I think I did a piece with Kieran Dowell up online earlier on today. It's in tomorrow's newspaper. He's kind of addressing it. And I think the kind of attitude is this is not a fight that anybody smart wants to try and pick.
Yeah.
There's no winners.
It's not a winnable fight.
There's no. So, you know, I think Rangers want to calm that mood music down a little bit. Philip Clement made a big deal when he came to the club, and he was right. There was a fracture between the team and the supporters when Michael Beale was in charge. And Clement did really well to foster, you know, a real connection between the stands and the pitch. And it carried Rangers a long way throughout the course of that season. But okay, they tailed off at the end, but they badly need that back. The thing with the stadium being locked out their own home hasn't helped matters. Rangers fans in general are not in a great mood right now.
Yeah.
They're not going to get in a better mood by watching players get uppity with them from the park. So, you know, that's something that Philip Clement really needs to clamp down, because he did make a big point of saying how important it was to have the fans and the team connecting. Well, this is a disconnect, and you can't have these examples of players spitting the dummy. As I said, Dessers has done it a few times. Tavernier, I think, bit back a little bit, as you would, by the way, outside the stadium that day. But on the field during games, they really just need to focus on doing their job.
As if your point didn't need to prove anymore, that some of the comments we've had in on this, you know, kind of backs up what you're saying. Alistair Muir, more evidence apart from his team selection. Clement really isn't up to speed with our club's needs. Rob Jones, I really hope we're not obligated to buy Czerny. He's a terrible one-dimensional player. His behaviour is even worse. Shouting at fans is absolutely disgraceful. Bring back Hadji and Andy Cairns. Czerny better get his
Hadji.
I know.
He's just dying for it again.
I know. Czerny better his attitude in line. This is our club. He is only representing for a short while. Glad PC had a word. A couple of other comments just to finish. Thomas Burns, shocking penalty. Keith would have saved that. Thomas, let's not go nuts. And this one here from Gianni Di Maio. Great to see Keith thriving on his social media malarkey.
Gianni's actually coming across a bit stalkerish, isn't he?
He's very prominent with the comments every night, Gianni.
A bit stalkerish. He's a restaurateur in my local area.
Right.
And I quite like his restaurant. Nonna Gina's very nice. She's pop in.
Yep.
In fact, I tell you what, Gianni actually had a pizza on that menu called Pizza Jackson. My creation, and he put it on his menu because it's the best pizza. I had to show him how to work the pizza oven and all that and get it. But
Gianni, why is that not graced Record Sport HQ? It should be up here every night.
Send them in, Gianni. Carload of Pizza Jacksons. By the way, if you want to know what it is, salsicha and cooked ham. Delicious.
Lovely. Just to finish tonight, obviously Hearts.
Went off on a tangent.
That's better. It's better
I'm
than football, probably. Hearts, they didn't win at the weekend, but they got a point on the board. Lawrence Shankland scored, and I was just tickled by your column in today's Record Sport that maybe Scott Brown is the answer to all of their problems. Can't see that going down too well.
That's a stretch. I didn't say that.
I didn't quite see that. That's.
I think what I'm doing is kind of stress testing the theory that if you're going to ignore the obvious, and we all know, and I've said it on here, don't know how many times, that Derek McInnes is the obvious. So if you're going to ignore that,
yeah,
because the supercomputer knows better, my stress test of that is, what if it spits out the name of Scott Brown? Because when St Johnstone were looking for a manager, he's one of the up-and-coming, most promising young guys in the game in this country. What if the computer, Star Lizard, pops out the name Scott Brown? What do Hearts do then? Well, we don't like that science anymore.
Aye. There's certain names that are.
We'll take some of your signs, but not all of your signs.
Aye.
So that I'm being a little bit facetious with it.
Yeah.
I do think that Scott Brown is going places as a manager. I certainly don't think it's going to be Tynecastle. But you know, you can't have your cake and eat it with this one. You either believe in the algorithms or you don't.
You're all in, either all in or you're not.
Yeah, and to me, I only mention it because it strikes me as madness that they haven't picked up the phone to have a conversation, just a conversation with Derek McInnes about, would you fancy a speak to Kamal about asking for permission? I find it weird.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that's said quite often about Scottish football.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that brings us to the end.
Good, because I'm starving. I need to go up the road. This pizza talk's done.
I was going to say, it's got to me as well. Should say if you chipped in with some comments, we really appreciate it. We'll be back to do it all again at 6 p.m. tomorrow night, ahead of Celtic's clash with Borussia Dortmund. Keith?
What colour are you wearing tomorrow?
I'll text you. I'll text you. Thanks very much, and thanks for watching at home.